Joining us to discuss these issues is Jarosław Kraszewski, former chief of Polish National Security Bureau. Hello, sir, and welcome to TVP World.
Okay, good morning.
So I would love to start with the fact that recently now Russia has resumed its nuclear posturing, threatening also to deploy nuclear weapons closer to NATO borders. And this move, according to analysts, is intended to intimidate and destabilize the security situation in the Central and Eastern European region. However, it is not the first time that we see these kind of threats. So how effective are Russia's nuclear threats in achieving its strategic objectives in the CEE regions, to your mind?
First of all, we know that Russian Federation is the largest nuclear power around the globe. So we have to keep it in our minds. Secondly, Russian Federation possesses a lot of tactical nuclear shells, and this is the most critical right now because these artillery shells could be used in situations. For instance, right now there is a Russian offensive going on basically in Donbass, and when the Russians are losing, they can use the tactical nuclear weapon systems just to win the battle, not to win the war, to win the battle. And tactical shells are dangerous for the cities, small, big, medium cities, and it's going to another disaster for the natural resources around the cities where Russians will use such weaponry systems. And again, in my opinion, Putin and his administration would like to make a lot of efforts using the nukes to force the United Western to leave the Ukrainian alone and to let Russians to do the peace talks according to the Russian plans, not to the plans prepared by President Zelensky's administration and by the advisors coming from the Western countries.
Now, what about when it comes to Russia's and also Belarus's hybrid war that they are waging on the Eastern Front, of course, of NATO's flank at the border with Poland? We have learned that Poland has recently reintroduced a buffer zone on its border. How will this contribute to increased safety at the border?
You know, the situation is getting a bit complicated because of the special training camps located in the Russian territory. And those camps are dealing with the training activities for, let's say, the fighters. Those are probably soldiers from the special forces, and they are getting ready for any kind of operations within the NATO and EU territories, and specifically the Baltic states and Poland, as well as the B9. I mean, if we go down south, Romania, Bulgaria, and our neighbors. I mean, the Slovakia and Czechs. And this is the critical situation because, in my opinion, those activities conducted by, let's say, immigrants along with the Belarusian border are going a bit increased. And it's gonna be much more violation coming from Belarus because, as I told you, those are specifically trained fighters, and some of them are really dangerous for us, and they are ready to come and to destroy the critical infrastructure before they would like to do as many damages as possible, even causing the soldiers deaths like we suffered, unfortunately, 2 weeks ago. And we have to concentrate our efforts right now to change a bit the law regarding how to use the law enforcement, how to use the so-called in the military rules of engagement, and how to operate with different components. I mean the military, border guards, and the police.
So now, just to follow up on what you said, what about when it comes to proportions? Do we know just how many of these people on the border of Poland and Belarus, how many of them are really immigrants trying to reach the European Union for a better life, and how many are people who are trained by the Russian and Belarusian special services?
Our secret service, they are doing a really good job. It's very difficult to determine who is who because as you see on the different videos and clips, they are using the camouflage and special masks to cover the faces, and it's really difficult to determine. But we have to change our approach to the border security. Instead of being so reactive, we have to be proactive. So you pointed out the hybrid war. So in the hybrid war, we have to do a lot of things in the internet, in the cyber, showing, for instance, the agents or the special fighters who are in charge of conducting such operations like we see right now on the screen. So we have to show them in the internet publicly. We have to show their relations with different partners and so on and so forth, just to make it much more complicated for the Russians than it is right now, because Poland and the Baltic states, we are, of course, that's good that we are so reactive, but in my opinion, we have to change our mindset and be much more proactive.
Right, so seeing that definitely there needs to be a shift of mindset, especially facing Russian disinformation. And to your mind, lastly, what impact do Russian disinformation campaigns have on public opinion and political stability within the CEE region?
They would like to change mostly each political system in the United West. Why? Because they know that United West is doing a lot of support for the Ukrainians. Ukrainians by themselves, they would not survive as long as right now they are fighting and winning the little battles in Donbass near Kharkiv and down south. And United West gave the permission to use long-range missiles and rockets to hit the targets within the Russian Federation. And it means that the offensive is not going to be as easy as the Russians thought initially. And once the Ukrainians get the combat jets, the situation will become for the Russians very critical. Because in my opinion, the combat jets together with the long-range missiles like HIMARS launchers and ATACMS, those are gonna be the game changers. So the Russians will do a lot of things in cyber, in the information campaigns, to show us as a weak alliance with a lot of partners, not possible and not capable to reach the agreement immediately, and they do it by state, showing our weaknesses. So we have to be ready for such campaigns, and the national resilience, that's the critical point, I would say the center of gravity to win the war in the cyberspace.
All right, well, Brigadier General Jarosław Kraszewski, former Chief of National Security Bureau, thank you very much for your insight and for speaking to us here on TVP World today.
Thank you so much.